When I think of war, I think of my mom. And not because she fled a war in Vietnam to bring my family to this country with my father, but because, for as long as I can remember, I have felt like I am at war with my mom, both in here and out here. I was little when I learned to be scared of her. She hit us. And by high school, I had taken all that fear that I'd collected for so long and spun it into a web that added anger and resentment. I was rarely allowed to see my friends, so I stayed after school a lot so I could. Wasn't allowed to talk on the phone, so of course, when she wasn't home, the first thing I did was get on the phone with my best friend, Elle. So one day, she comes home, she catches me, she orders me to get off. I obey. And then as soon as she leaves the room, I take the phone and I throw it onto a pile of clothes. Not hard, didn't smash against the wall or anything, but of course, she knew. She flies back into the room. You throw a phone? No. Next thing I know, she's in one of her full rage attack modes where she grabs the closest thing to her and comes at me with it. Usually it's something effective like a broom. But this time, luckily, she grabbed a pair of my jeans. Flings them at my face. But the button and the zipper happened to catch my lip and drew some blood. Now I, both in rage and fear, storm out of the house. I'm 15. Where am I going? I end up walking down the road to my high school, call Elle on a payphone. She gets hysterical. She tells her mom, who then comes to the school to pick me up. She immediately takes my face in her hands, to check for blood and bruises, which I don't have anymore. We go back to her house, and I honestly have very little recollection of what we said to each other. But I know that she just let me hang out for a while and blow off some steam, and then she has me call home. It is excruciating. The dialing of the buttons, the slow rings, the sound of my mom's voice saying hello before she hands the phone to my father without another word when she hears my voice. He comes to collect me. And on the mostly silent car ride home, my father, with whom I have a mostly silent relationship, manages a few words. What happened? Mom got mad at me for talking on the phone, and then I got mad, and then we got into a fight. I go on and on, he listens to my rant, and then he carefully says, okay, so you think Mom should change? Yeah! Finally! The most obvious thing in the world that no one would ever dare suggest. For once, I feel validated, heard, maybe even fucking hopeful. And then he says, okay, you want Mom to change? You go. You get out. What? You want Mom to change? You want American way? You go. My heart sinks back into its familiar home of fear and despair. Now, that's just how it was for me. I just kind of waited until I grew up so I could get out. I had no relationship with my parents. I was scared of them. I didn't want them anywhere near me or my life, so I lied to them, and I hid everything from them all the time. So last fall, I told a story on stage about the time that I thought I had overdosed on accident on marijuana. Change of pace here. The crux of the story is how, even though I thought I was for sure a goner and I survived, the biggest victory was that I still managed to hide that shit from my parents. Videos released, I put it on Facebook like I always do. What I fail to remember is that my father has a Facebook account that he rarely uses, and that I am one of his 29 friends that his newsfeed features quite prominently, I imagine. My dad and my mom watch my weed video. Now my mom does the next logical thing, of course. She hounds my brother about it. My brother, horrified, warns me. Now I, first, of course, shaken in my boots, eventually come to a realization. I am a grown-ass woman. And if she asks me about this, I don't know what the hell I'm gonna do, but I will not lie. A couple weeks go by, just when I start to think maybe she won't bring it up. She busted out. You know, you tell that story on video about you do drug? I so sad about. You have problem. You okay now? Like I have some sort of drug problem or something, which I do not. I was never not okay. I am okay now, and I was okay then. You still do? I told myself I wouldn't lie. I haven't done it in a long time. I don't ever buy it or anything, I never have. And then my dad chimes in. One time, my friend asked me to do it after work. Did you do it? No, I say no. Okay, well, yeah, I mean, for me, it's on the same level as alcohol, like drinking beer. I don't think it's any worse than that. So, like, I am going for it, like, speaking my truths. And then my dad says, well, as long as it's not too much, even too much tea is not good. That's right, even too much tea is not good. But my mom is still concerned. You know, sometimes your friend, they want you to do it so bad, they say, hey, come on, you guy, you so chicken, and they make you do. No one has ever said that to me. You not listen to them. I never had to not listen. They never said it. I do it because I want to. Okay, no one made me. Now she sits with that for a second, and then I even close the loop and I say, well, Mom, I'm sorry that my story made you sad. And then she giggles. I just told my parents, we just had a conversation about doing pot. And it ended with my mom giggling. Talk about winning. Because even though my relationship with my mom has long improved like a millionfold ever since I grew up and got out, this is obviously shocking and surreal. Partly because it was so bad growing up, but partly because it's still awful with my mom sometimes. You know, in war, you have battles, many, many battles, and some you win, some you lose. You just hope to win more than you lose. But an obvious question is, at the end of the day, with all of the destruction, are there any actual winners in war? Like, what would it even mean for me to win this war against my mom? It would mean no war to win at all. So, for the first time in my life, I have invited my parents into my life to hear one of my stories. I was all ready for my next sentence to be, unfortunately, they couldn't make it. But they are here tonight. Well, yeah. Make them, I hope they're hearing that. I'm terrified. The fear is still there. I have no idea what's going to happen when I get off this stage. But what I know is that regardless of what happens out here, this is a victory that will go far in ending the war in here.